Hello friends, this is David Sami with A Christian Journey. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about some criteria and qualities that you may want to consider as you begin to look for the right person in life. I know over the years I've talked to many men who have told me that going back they would not choose the person that they are with, because most of us, we never sat down and made a list of what is important for us. What qualities should we be looking for the person? We went about finding the right person by, as long as we have commonalities and we were attracted to them, that we would know intuitively that they are the right person. But I have come to the conclusion that soulmates are not to be found, but they are made. And if they are made, you want to look for certain qualities and you want to have certain criteria that you have made beforehand. That way, when you meet the right person, you have some objective way of evaluating them, if they are the right person or not. You are not just solely going by your emotions and feelings of what may be the right person, only to find out few years from then that no, I made a mistake. They're not the right one. I wish I would have been more wiser about selecting the right person. So that's why today we want to talk about 4 categories. Number 1 is the commonality of beliefs and values. Number 2, character qualities. Number 3, appearances. And number 4, practical issues. Now we're going to look at this in a general way, but we have been trying to give these categories from a Christian point of view. But even if you are not a Christian, you can consider these qualities and see how you can incorporate them into your belief system, into your values. But again, this is not a comprehensive list of things that you should have, but some general overview of these 4 categories that I think are important, and I'm putting this as for your consideration as maybe a guide or maybe a supplement to some of the things that you may have. But I highly recommend, if you are a young person, to sit down and make a list of things that are important to you, your criteria. And when you come across an individual that you may feel like they're the right person, evaluate them based on your criteria. So let's begin by talking about these 4 general categories. And again, you may add to them or subtract, whatever you feel like it's right for you. But the first one is the commonality of belief and overall direction of life. What is your belief? What are your values? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want out of your life? What do you want to accomplish in life? You see, you want to sit down and write what are your values and what are your beliefs and how you want your life to look like. If you are a Christian, I think you should only consider another Christian. But today we may meet someone that we don't know anything about them. Maybe we meet them in a college or at work. If that should be the case, as you maybe go for a first date, try to figure out where the person is spiritually. Maybe during the course of conversation you can ask them, do you have any spiritual preferences? Do you have any spiritual interest? And allow the other person to express their views, their thought on spirituality, and to see whether their spirituality matches yours and their values and belief matches yours. If it doesn't, then don't raise the level of expectation in relationship. part ways before things get more vested, before you invest more emotionally into that relationship. Try to figure out where they are belief-wise and value-wise. If they are not, don't waste your time, because some people may feel like, well, you know, values and beliefs aren't that important to me. Okay, but you know, down the road, they become very important, because you may want to see certain things done. You may want to have certain outcomes in your life. But if you want to go this way, but the other person wants to go the other way, that's a recipe for constant conflict. And in your heart of heart, you're not going to be happy with how things turn out. So if you are a Christian, only look for someone who has the same faith and values as yours. You know what is interesting is you may even meet another Christian who has a different values than you are. You may be a conservative Christian, but your friend, the person that you're dating, is maybe a liberal Christian. So you're going in the opposite direction in some of the key things. So make sure that your values are the same. Now, the second thing is to consider is the person's character and their inner qualities. Now, again, this is not a comprehensive list of characters that you should look for, but overall, what the Bible paints as qualities that are desirable in a woman, we can sum them and we can summarize them to three things: gentle, peaceable attitude, kindness, and inner strength. You see, you want to see qualities in a person that is gentle and peaceable, that they are a person who wants to do things peacefully. They are at ease with themselves. They want to pursue peace. They are the kind of person who are not constantly looking for conflict, constantly challenging. Everything is not a contest of wills, but yet there is a sweetness and peaceableness about their demeanor. You know, women used to be considered the civilizing influence in men's life. But unfortunately today we have embraced a false notion that femininity is weakness. But it's totally contrary. Bible actually paints a picture of a desirable womanhood that has an inner strength, that is able to accomplish tasks, accomplish things, but yet they are thoughtful, they're considerate, and they are peaceable. They are gentle. They're not harsh. They're not mean. So look for these qualities in that person. But there are few qualities that Bible actually gives us a caution about, or there may be a red flag. One is a person who is constantly argumentative and challenging. A person who wants to pick a fight all the time. Everything is life or death. Everything becomes bigger than they ought. And they're always challenging you. They always want to have their last word. You cannot just rationally come to a conclusion with this person, but everything is an argument. When we go out, when we have differences of opinion, we cannot peacefully resolve it. It always becomes a big thing. They look for argument. They're almost like they're angry. They're constantly at edge. You see, that is a recipe for disaster. And also Bible, one quality that warns us in a woman is a person who cannot tell right from wrong. A person who may be beautiful in their appearance, but have not cultivated much common sense and wisdom. So as you consider the person's quality, see, does this person have an awareness of right or wrong? Do they have a certain level of wisdom, certain level of common sense, that they are gentle, peaceable, but yet not weak, able to accomplish things, able to go about just comfortably, they're comfortable in their own skin, but yet they have certain amount of wisdom. They know what is right and wrong, that they're being taught a certain amount of intelligence that is helpful in life. So these are some overall qualities that you want to look for in a person's character. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but some things that Bible highlights. The third thing that we want to talk about is the person's appearance. Now, when it comes to appearance, there are two extreme views. One, that there are maybe in some Christian circles who would say, okay, you only want to look for the qualities that are right in a person, forget about the appearance. But then we can go to the other extreme to get infatuated by a person and totally throw away all the other criteria, all the other things that are important. I think both of these are extreme. You see, if we don't, attraction to a person is not always physical. We may get attracted to a person by their personality, by their level of intellect, by their wisdom, by their inner qualities, obviously some physical, but I think there needs to be a certain level of attraction to the person that we are considering, because if there is no attraction, it would be easy for us to then pick their faults, to look at their faults, because we don't have much heart for them. But when you have a heart for a person, when you're attracted to them, again, not only just physical, but maybe emotional or maybe intellectually, that you're attracted, that there is something about them that gravitates you toward them. You see, then it's easy to overlook faults. It's easy to go the second mile. But when there is absolutely nothing, it's very easy to begin to nitpick, very easy to begin to see their fault, because you are not attracted to them. You don't have much heart for them. So keep that in mind. But where do you put it? It would be a matter of your personal preference. But I don't think you should put it at number one. I think your commonality of faith and belief and the character should be 1 and 2. But then number 3, there should be something about the other person that attracts you to them. So be mindful of that. But also the Bible gives us a warning about someone who is very beautiful in their appearance, but they lack intelligence and discernment. You know, maybe most of us have come across people that are very beautiful physically. But when you talk to them, you get a sense that this person has not cultivated much intelligence, or they're not really wise, or, you know, they just don't have much common sense. Be mindful of that, so that the appearance and beauty doesn't become everything. Because as you go through life, you want to be with someone who has a certain level of discernment, a certain level of wisdom, and, you know, common sense, certain level of intelligence. So you want to have attraction, but you don't want it to be all in all. You want the other qualities as well. Now, another thing that Bible points out is in 1 Timothy 2:9, it talks about women to dress modestly or orderly, that they adorn themselves in a respectful way. You know how a person dresses can tell us something about that person. It can tell us something about their values, their beliefs, that maybe they have formed a certain conviction and they are living their conviction. They're orderly. The way an orderly person thinks is different than a person who is disorderly, a person who doesn't care about themselves. It would reflect something about their character, that maybe they will bring the same attitude into their marriage, into their life, an attitude that they don't care, that an attitude of irresponsibility. But when you see someone who is orderly and they dress with a certain values, they are conveying something about their inner life that is reflective on the outward appearance. So be mindful of that you want to be with someone who takes care of themselves. They try to be orderly and they are modest. They're not giving to extreme. Now, it would be very natural for many young ladies to want to dress fashionably and be in trend. But you see, the trendiness and fashionable and being fashionable, keep it in the barometer of your values. Don't allow fashion and trend dictate to you what you wear and you don't wear, but use them as guidelines within your boundary. That your boundary is to be modest, orderly, not giving to extreme, respectful. And I'm going to keep it that way. And in that barometer, within those poles, I would choose my clothing and how I dress. But as you evaluate the person that you're going out with, don't discount their personal appearance. Be mindful, because many times our outward appearance is a reflection of who we are inwardly. So keep that in mind. Number 4 is practical issues of life. You know, if I was going to reduce it to 2 things, 2 main things that you want to look for in the other person. One is that they're able to handle money. That this person that you're considering is able to control their desires. You see, if you come across a person and you get to know them, and they're always broke, they always have large amount of debt in their credit card, or they handle money irresponsibly, be mindful of that, because how we handle our money is one indicator about our character. Can we control our desires? Are we the one in control, or do our desires rule over us? Because if our desires rule over us, chances are when we get married, we bring that attitude into our marriage. And it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for a lot of conflicts and a lot of issues. You know, people used to be frugal. We have lost that virtue of being a frugal person, using things up and not discarding things easily, you know, repairing things. But when you meet a young lady that has her money in order and knows how to handle money, that's a great asset that would have a big bearing on your life. You know, most of us, we think we don't make enough money. But chances are we make enough money, but it is how we manage our money that is our problem. If we don't manage our money, we can make a minimal amount, or we can make a lot of money. We'll probably end up being broke because we don't manage our money right. So look toward how that person manages the money, because that is one indicator that how they're being governed. Are they able to control themselves, or their desires control them? The second person is person not being lazy, that they are able to work, that they don't try to always do what is minimal, that they are not lazy, they're able to get work done, they're able to run a household. I think sometimes, you know, we may meet someone who has maybe degrees, or, you know, maybe they have a professional career outside, they seem to be fine. But when they come in their home, everything is messy. Everything is disorganized. They just tend to be given to laziness. Maybe there are dishes in the sink. If you see a person like that, again, just pause, because that could be a red flag. You want someone who is not lazy, who is willing to work, who is able to take care of things, is able to manage things, because that's how they behave when they are married. You see, as you date, as you go out with a person, consider these qualities. Not that you want to correct the other person, but you want to allow the other person to show you who they are, to show you what they are like, before you even have to correct them, or you have to manipulate them, or you have to say anything. And then see, do they match your criteria? Do they match the things that are important to you? So, but allow the person to show who they are. And you show them who you are. See, one of the problems that we have is we disguise who we are. We put our best foot forward when we go out. So the other person doesn't really see the real person that we are, but they see a portrait of us that is not real. They see a fake individual. So as much as possible, don't correct the person that you're going out with, and allow them to show you who they are. And you show them who you are. Be yourself. Then that way, they get a chance to see if you are the right fit for them, and you get a chance to see if they are the right person. So here are just 4 categories that I think are important categories. But again, you make a list of your criteria and add or subtract into these 4 categories. But these 4 categories, I think, to me, are essentials. They are the important ones. And some questions that always come up is, I've had friends who are single ask me, David, where do you go to meet the right person? You see, I'm of a opinion that the right person needs to be brought to you. You don't find them, but they are brought to you. And they come into your path, into the path of your life. But the biggest thing is for you to be able to recognize them. But if you don't have criteria, if you have not sat down and made a list of what are important things to you, how would you recognize them? You only go by your feeling, or you may only go by your intuitive knowledge of, well, when they are the right person, you'll know. But think about how many people stood before a minister thinking that they're marrying the right person, only to end up divorced a few years down the road because they come to a conclusion that I didn't make a right choice. I didn't end up with the right person. So consider that. Consider making a criteria list and a list of qualities that you are looking for. And hopefully some of these qualities that I mentioned today would be of some help to you. So Lord willing, next week, if the Lord wills, we want to talk about some qualities that you should look for in a man that you want to consider marrying. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about the other side of the coin. We talk about how to evaluate the right man that you are considering. So until then, may the Lord be with you. May He watch over you. May He make His face to shine upon you and give you peace. This is David Sami with a Christian Journey.